gonna be children. Kids will be kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I expect that from them. I expect them to do the wrong thing.
Wait till I get back and see him. Wait till I slap a alright, yeah, wait. Wait till I come back in the market late night, and then it's just you and I you up.
Word on the street is King Harris's reckless mouth behind bars finally caught up to him. Now his dad, T.I., is scrambling to clean up the mess, but insiders claim it's way too late. The gangs inside aren't just trying to humble him, they want him gone for good. The spark that set all this off? A single traffic stop that spun his whole life out of control. Picture this, 20-year-old King Sandre Harris, son of trap legend Clifford T.I. Harris Jr., sitting behind the wheel of a black BMW. What should have been a chill cruise through the suburbs turned into the drama that lit up Twitter, Instagram, and World Star like fireworks. King, always flexing online and chasing rap clout, was about to have his past come crashing down in the worst way, all starting with what looked like a basic traffic slip-up.
I'm saying that you weren't allowed to turn left right there because it's separated by those double yellow lines. I got you. Do you have your license on you? Go ahead and step it up. Okay, Mr. Harris. Okay, we gotta have a talk about something else, so keep your hands on the steering wheel for me.
According to Fox 5 Atlanta and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, King almost sideswiped a Dunwoody police cruiser while leaving a gas station. Cops didn't waste a second. Lights flashing, sirens screaming, they cut him off. But this wasn't no routine ticket. The officer leaned in and immediately smelled loud in the car, then spotted a heavy piece strapped right on King's hip. In a flash, this stop went from zero to full-blown chaos. And yes, it was all caught on body cam. The footage, which dropped in early 2025, shows the officer staying calm while asking King to step out the ride. But things got even crazier when they ran his name through the system. That's when the bombshell dropped. King had an active bench warrant out of Pickens County, Georgia. Turns out it traced back to 2022, when he skipped court on charges that had been hanging over his head. The list? Speeding, driving under the influence, and knowingly pushing a car with a suspended license. That suburban stop was just the beginning of a storm King couldn't outrun. King's suspended license was just the start, and according to Rolling Out, it should have been nothing more than regular traffic drama.
They did confirm it.
But here's where he messed up. When the court sent that notice in September 2024, it bounced back undelivered in Georgia. Missing court, even for small charges, will get you slapped with a bench warrant fast, and that's exactly what happened. So by October, when King nearly clipped that cop car in the suburbs, the law was already waiting for him with paperwork ready to snatch him up. From there, the stop only got heavier. Body cam footage shows cops smelling that sticky loud and asking about the steel they spotted in the ride. King didn't duck it. He kept it real. He admitted straight up that he was strapped up. For a lot of people watching the footage later, that moment was shocking. The son of a rap pioneer casually saying he had burners and bud in the mix like it was nothing. But here's what threw officers off. It wasn't an angry, reckless vibe. King stayed chill. He followed every order, kept his hands visible, stepped out when told, and even made small talk with the cops. One officer even noted how calm his energy was throughout the whole thing. Still, once that warrant hit the system, it was game over. King got cuffed, detained, and Miranda rights read on the spot. First stop, DeKalb County Jail. Then he got transferred to Pickens County, where the warrant had been issued. And the craziest twist? While riding in the patrol car, King casually dropped the bomb that his dad was none other than the king of the South himself, T.I.
King's about to have a son.
King's about to have a son. Congrats.
Yeah. And I told him I'm gonna make this the greatest gangster of all times. I will raise this child to torture you the way that you tortured me.
That little reveal had the internet buzzing later, because this wasn't just any random 20-year-old caught slipping. This was a trap prince, now battling legal headaches just like his famous father once did. But here's where the plot flipped. Despite all the noise, the weed, the weapons, the warrant, King didn't sit locked up for months. The very next day, October 15th, 2024, the warrant got recalled and King walked free. No extra charges for the bud or the straps either. Georgia law made that possible since licensed carry is legal, and small amounts of weed usually just mean a ticket, not real time. So legally, he skated. But in the court of public opinion, the stain was already deep, and that rep followed him everywhere. King's name was splashed across every headline, from TMZ to Hot New Hip Hop. The tagline screamed, T.I.'s son arrested, guns and weed found, warrant confirmed. But why did this suburban arrest shake the culture so hard? On paper, it was just a short stay behind bars, but symbolically, it hit way deeper. For years, T.I. had been warning his son about the dangers of chasing a street image while living a suburban life. In interviews, he flat out said King was heading down a road that could land him in the pen. And here it was, his prediction unfolding in real time. But the body cam footage told a different story. King wasn't wilding out. He wasn't fighting or yelling. He was calm, almost resigned. He even looked confused about the warrant and asked if he could call his pops. For many watching, that was a moment of raw humanity. The kid who'd been flexing online and trying to prove his street cred was suddenly just a young man in cuffs, desperate to reach out to his father. The footage didn't drop until 2025, but once it hit YouTube and the hip-hop blogs, it lit debates on fire. Some said it proved King was doing too much, chasing street stripes he didn't need, like Atlanta Black Star's headline bluntly put it. Others defended him, pointing out that a bench warrant over traffic charges could happen to any young dude. Still, the optics were undeniable. T.I.'s son caught in the suburbs, strapped up with gas and burners.
What I appreciate more than anything right now is to be able to make a phone call. So when we get there, it can already be figured out.
To who? Who are you trying to make a phone call to?
I'm trying to make a phone call to my pops.
That image locked in King's rep as someone who stayed tied to the drama, but the whispers only got darker. By 2025, rumors spread like wildfire online. Claims that King got sentenced to 5 years, that he'd been jumped in county jail, even that T.I. was begging OGs to protect his boy. Suddenly, every viral clip of King came with the shadow of his father's struggle. Clifford T.I. Harris Jr., a man who fought his own demons in the streets, was now battling what it meant to raise a son in the spotlight. And King's October 2024 arrest? That was just one messy chapter in a long family saga. Generational clashes, ego, and pride boiling beneath the surface. For years, T.I. had been blunt about it. He warned King's stunts, fights at Waffle House, flashing weapons online, would only drag him into trouble. Those warnings weren't empty words. T.I. had lived that life. He knew the cost firsthand.
Stage name so I can look you up.
King Harris.
King Harris?
You know T.I.?
Huh?
T.I.?
Who's that?
That's my father.
No, I don't.
In 2009, he did a year in federal prison on weapons charges, and his early career was littered with legal battles. Now he was watching his son flirt with the exact same mistakes. T, I had been saying it for years, you're gonna end up in prison if you keep this up. And when King finally got cuffed in October 2024, it felt like his prophecy had come to life. But even before that arrest, the cracks in their father-son bond were out in the open for everyone to see. Remember that Atlanta Falcons game in late 2023? King and T.I. got into a heated argument right in front of the crowd, and the clip went viral overnight. King shouted that he wasn't raised as some spoiled silver spoon kid. He claimed he grew up with his grandmother, away from the luxuries of T.Y. and Tiny's mansion. For King, it was about proving authenticity. For T.I., it was frustrating, a son rejecting the stability he had fought his whole life to secure. That stadium showdown became the perfect metaphor. Father and son locked in a tug-of-war over identity, while fans in the stands and online watched like it was an episode of reality TV. So when cops in Dunwoody pulled King over in October 2024 and found weed, firearms, and that bench warrant, it wasn't just another arrest, it was a family earthquake.
Seemed like a cool kid. I don't want anything to come out of this, so let's just make sure that the warrant's valid and go from there, okay?
Yet the body cam footage exposed a softer side. King, handcuffed, still reaching for his dad. That image was a complete contrast to the tough guy persona he pushed online. Beneath the drama, it showed he still saw T.I. as the one person who might save him. Publicly, T.I. kept his cool. No long social media rants, no flashy press conference. But behind the scenes, reports say he was on the phone nonstop, calling lawyers, checking with clerks, pulling every string to manage the damage. And it wasn't just about keeping King out of deeper trouble. It was about protecting the Harris legacy. For the past decade, T.I. had rebuilt himself into more than just a rapper. He was a mogul, a reality star, a businessman, a father figure. Seeing his son in cuffs threatened not only the Harris name, but also the empire he had carefully crafted. And here's the twist. While T.I. was handling the fallout of his son's arrest, King was stepping into fatherhood himself. In November 2024, he and longtime partner Jania, Big Nana Epps, welcomed their baby boy, King Jr. For T.I., the irony hit hard. During a Hot 107.9 interview shortly after, he cracked a joke that doubled as a truth bomb. Funny, raw, and real. It was also a reminder of the cycle repeating itself. The once rebellious son now facing the test of raising a child of his own. A regular father-son argument might stay private, but the Harrises aren't regular. Every moment becomes a headline, every clash a viral clip. Billboard covered King's arrest. Atlanta Black Star roasted his obsession with wanting to be a thug so bad. And social media? They flipped his whole life into endless memes. For T.I., that meant every fatherly stumble was dragged out in public.
You can, you know what I'm saying, kind of woosah yourself outside of the public opinion. I really admire his dedication and commitment to the craft. Cause, you know, I kind of told him, you know, what was wrong about it. Making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who'll pull up and get on my ass anytime. Things I did, you can't get away with.
I know that.
Man, damn. Yeah, that's I ain't see that one coming. You know
Really?
what I mean? Nah, I didn't.
For King, every young mistake became proof that he was reckless. Together, they weren't just a family, they were a spectacle. Part hip-hop dynasty, part reality show chaos, and part cautionary tale. Even King himself put their relationship into perspective, comparing him and his father to Ghost and Tariq from Power. And it wasn't just some throwaway line, it fit perfectly. Ghost was the father who clawed his way out of the streets, built an empire, and desperately tried to shield his son from the same fate. Tariq was the son who rejected the protection, chasing independence, even if it meant running straight into danger. That's the Harris family dynamic in one snapshot. T.I. looks at King and sees his own past and his son's possible future. King looks at T.I. and sees chains he needs to break free from. And the public eats it up, turning every single stumble into viral content that spreads like wildfire. But what really pulls people in isn't just the fame or the controversy. It's the raw humanity underneath it all. A father who loves his son but fears where he's headed. A son who loves his father but can't bring himself to admit it. A family stuck in the paradox of privilege versus authenticity, trying to live normal lives while being anything but normal. By the time 2025 hit, it was clear King Harris's story was way bigger than one traffic stop and one arrest. This was about generational cycles, the weight of hip-hop legacies, and the eternal question, can the kids of fame carve their own path? King's next chapter will prove whether he can rise beyond just being T.I.'s son, and whether fatherhood, music, and legacy will guide him toward growth, or drag him right back into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. King Harris's future, music, fatherhood, and the shadow of T.I.'s legacy. When people talk about King in 2025, the conversation almost always starts and ends with that October arrest, the flashing lights, the body cam, the mugshot. But King's story can't be reduced to a Dunwoody parking lot bust. It's really about where he goes next, as an artist, as a young father, and as the heir to one of hip-hop's most complicated family legacies. Because while gossip about gang beef and prison time floods the headlines, the truth is, King's life is unfolding in real time. He's got new music, a newborn son, and a father-son clash that feels bigger than just one household. The turning point. November 5th, 2024, just weeks after his arrest. That morning at 8:09 a.m., King proudly announced online, "Welcome King Jr., time to take over." He and longtime partner Janiyah Big Nana Epps had just welcomed their baby boy. Becoming a dad at 20 would flip anyone's world upside down, but for King, the timing was surreal. 1 month, he's in cuffs asking to call his father. The next, he's holding his own seed in his arms. Funny on the surface, yes, but beneath the jokes was something dead serious. The realization that cycles repeat. How he handles fatherhood could decide whether his son falls into the same traps or rises above them. At the same time, his music grind pushes forward. Since his teens, King's been dropping tracks, trying to prove he's more than just T.Y.'s son. But that October arrest threw his artistry into a strange spotlight. On one side, controversy brings attention. When King released Dear Son after becoming a father, people tuned in not just for the bars, but to see if he'd rap about growth, regret, or defiance. On the flip side, the danger is clear. His name might stay tied more to mugshots than mixtapes. As Billboard put it, being the child of a celebrity cuts both ways. The doors open quicker, but the pressure is sky high. King himself admitted his relationship with T. I feels like Ghost and Tariq from Power. A constant push and pull, filled with love but heavy with tension. That comparison bleeds into his music too, because no matter how far he runs, being T.I.'s son is stitched into his story. And in hip-hop, family legacy can be the biggest blessing, or the hardest curse. We've seen this movie before. Lil Romeo had to balance Master P's empire with carving his own lane. Coi Leray still gets compared nonstop to her father Benzino. Kids of rap royalty are always judged. Did they earn it, or was it handed to them? For King Harris, the viral Falcons game argument with T.I. laid it bare. He shouted he wasn't raised in privilege, swearing he spent his childhood at his grandmother's house where life was rougher. That hunger for authenticity explains why he flashes burners online, why he dives headfirst into controversy. But here's the paradox. The harder he tries to prove he's not just T.I.'s privileged son, the more the media labels him exactly that. And King's story isn't just about one family. It's part of a bigger cycle in hip-hop. Artists who once rapped about hustling, prison, and survival now raise kids who chase the same lifestyle they were protected from. T.I. himself is the perfect example. He spent years rhyming about street life, then flipped into a businessman and family man. But when King looks back at that old image, he sees it as more real than the suburban comfort he grew up in. That's the eternal cycle. Fathers fight to give their kids better lives, only to watch them reject it all in search of realness. T.I. has admitted in interviews how much this eats at him, saying King is determined to do things his way, no matter what I tell him. King's stubborn drive to carve his own lane mirrors countless hip-hop heirs. Kids raised with money but craving street credibility. At the heart of it all is the clash between father and son. And because this isn't some average family, every moment plays out in public. The Falcons game shouting match, the online back and forths, even the arrest footage where King asked to call his dad. None of it stayed private. These weren't just family arguments. They were performances for the world. So when King compared himself and T.I. to Ghost and Tariq from Power, he wasn't exaggerating. That's exactly how it feels. A generational power struggle wrapped in love and resentment, with both of them trying to prove the other wrong. Now, King Harris stands at a crossroads. With the birth of his son, he has the chance to break the cycle, or repeat it. Fatherhood can ground him, forcing responsibility over recklessness. But it can also become another weight in a life already crushed by pressure and judgment. Every move he makes as a parent will be dissected online. The real question is, will fatherhood shape King into someone stronger, or will it break him under the spotlight? King's music career now faces its biggest test yet. Controversy might get clicks, but it doesn't guarantee respect. His challenge is to flip all those public missteps, the arrest, the clashes with his father, the chaos of growing up in the spotlight, into raw, authentic music that people actually feel. If he can turn pain into powerful storytelling, he's got a real shot at carving out a lane that's bigger than just T.I.'s son. But if he leans only on viral drama and internet buzz, he risks being remembered as nothing more than a headline instead of a headliner. The Harris name carries serious weight in hip-hop, and that weight will always sit heavy on King's shoulders. His father built an empire out of hard lessons and hard time. Now the world is watching to see if King upholds that legacy, or tears it down. Every win or loss he takes doesn't just define him. It reflects back on T.I. as both a father and a mentor. That's why every step King makes, whether it's growth or self-destruction, is part of a bigger story. One about inheritance, legacy, and the heavy burden of living in the shadow of greatness. Right now, King stands at a crossroads. One path is the reckless, privileged kid chasing street cred. The other is a young man stepping into fatherhood, artistry, and maturity. Which story he chooses will decide everything, whether the next viral headline is another mugshot or a platinum plaque. In the end, this saga isn't just about gangs or jail, it's about a family in transition. A father trying to protect his son from his own mistakes, and a son fighting to prove himself on his own terms. King Harris is more than just T.I.'s son. He's a rapper, a father, and a public figure whose every move is under the microscope. And while the internet exaggerates, the reality is still dramatic enough. A young man standing in his father's shadow, trying to build an empire of his own. The real question isn't whether T.I. begged OGs for his safety, it's whether King Harris will finally rise to his full potential before history repeats itself. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment, subscribe, and share this video. And I'll see you in the next one.